everybody, welcome back. My name is Michael Yu. I'm a third-year dental student at Western University in Pomona, California, and I'm joined here by
Steven Velasco, also a third-year dental student at WesternU. And now we're talking about how I went from being homeless and whatnot to becoming a dentist.
Which actually leads me right into the question, why dentistry, I guess.
So from the first part, all that bad stuff, the biggest takeaway was like, this isn't for me, I'm doing something else. And so for a little while I thought I was going to be an engineer, because I was taking calculus as a sophomore in high school. Okay. And then like I knew I wasn't going to be an engineer the day somebody said, they were like, what kind of engineer? And I was like, there's more than one. After some shuffling happens, it's just my brothers and I living in Phoenix, Arizona, parents living in other states. And I'm like, I just wanted to make money was all I wanted to do at that point in time. And I was always working two jobs in high school for a bit, usually from sophomore year up. And then one day, I think I was a senior in high school, I had an opportunity to go to a trade school. But more importantly, I had an opportunity to skip an English exam. So I skipped class, going on a field trip to EVIT in Mesa. I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare. And so that's how I ended up getting into dentistry. When I left the thing, I was like, okay, working at McDonald's is going to only make me X amount of dollars. Being a shift manager is only so much. So when I become a dental assistant, get hired at a place. So while being a dental assistant, I loved it. I loved everything about it. But more importantly, I just had these new influences. So becoming a dental assistant, I'm pretty successful for my time. A little bit too successful because I had enough money to go clubbing and partying, like a lot, dude.
You weren't managing your money well.
It wasn't. But honestly, it's funny. I was talking to one of my best friends, and we were talking about how those times of our lives were some of the best. One of the things we didn't mention was how I used to have no friends at all. And so the clubbing and the partying, as much as it kept me away from school, it helped me learn how to make friends and be normal. So maybe that was a silver lining.
How long did it take you to finish college?
11 years. 8 years to get my associate's degree and about 3 years to get my bachelor's degree. So basically 8 years to finish freshman year of a university.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You made it.
You made it. I was in school because I wanted more out of life, and I knew that without going to school, I wouldn't get as much out of life. I know it's not a guarantee. A lot of people be like, oh, well, this person went to school and they didn't make it. And I was like, yeah, I know it's not a guarantee, but I've got more options than this. And so I knew that if I wasn't in school, I was saying that this life is for me. And that's why I was constantly in. And then I would miss exams. I wouldn't study. I didn't know how to study. I was too busy working and everything else. And that was just a constant cycle. And then one day, a different doctor calls me out. And she called me into her office one time. She says, hey, what's going on with school? And I was like, oh, it's going all fine. She's like, no, it's not. When it's going fine, you talk about it. Around the middle of the semester, you stop talking about it. And then you fail. And then another semester comes by. And you talk about it and you're really excited.
You're telling yourself, it's going to be different this time.
Every time! She made me make the hardest decision of my life. She said, Steven, I want you to stop going to school. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't, if I don't go to school, then I'm not going to keep going forward. And she's like, you're not going anywhere right now.
Because you keep failing.
Exactly. She's like, stop going to school. Do all these things that you want to do. Get back to school when you're focused. And I'm like, okay. I don't know why I said okay. So I go back to school. I take classes, the semester runs its course. Get all A's. Science courses, anatomy.
And this was after you had your spout of just partying and
this was after.
You stopped school. You did all the things that you wanted to do because the doctor told you to.
Yeah. So then the rest of the community college goes well. Once I started getting some momentum, especially when I got into ASU, I started realizing that other people were looking at me like, if he can make it, then I can. If he can get out of this, then I can. I started thinking, I was like, okay, if someone's got to show my family this is we don't have to do this. We can break out of this cycle. We don't got to be poor anymore. We can have the whole world. And that became my driving push. And then it was like, okay, if I can make it from my background, I can inspire and help so many people, but I gotta make it. And so I'm so by the time it comes time to apply, in my mind, I'm this really great candidate. Well, I know I'm a good candidate if you would just take me in.
Right.
But when you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of really, really good applicants, like, it's hard for them to see that or to get to that. I don't blame them. Like, I hold.
There are literally thousands of applicants.
Yeah,
right?
I think our year it was 2,800 people for 64 seats.
Yeah.
And
it's a 2% chance of getting in.
Is that what the numbers come down to?
Yeah.
Like, is that national? Yeah.
No. That's for Western.
Is that?
Yeah.
So I start getting these rejection letters, and I'm panicking now. And I start sending out emails to different schools, like, hey, should I even apply? Because I don't have any money. My application went onto a credit card, which didn't get paid off till I get the scholarship.
Yeah.
Like I've got nothing. I've been working for a while, and I get some emails back like, hey man, don't even apply. Like your GPA isn't going to work.
The 2.69.
Yeah, the 2.69 cumulative GPA.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but it was 274 for science.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
Yeah. And they're like, no, just don't. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, guys. Like, I was terrible for 8 years. I've been killing it for these 3. Like, they're like,
just give me a chance.
Just anybody, anyone, just give me a shot. No.
Yeah.
No, I get a rejection from a different school. I call it my number 2 school, if you will. And I'm like, another one, and I'm panicking. And then like a couple weeks later, I get another email from the number 2 school, and I was like, oh crap, maybe it was the same rejection letter. It just came again. Yeah. Like, why?
So you got rejected twice?
No. Well, we rejected twice in the same school.
Yeah.
There was a career fair thing where they like offer graduate programs and everything else. And like in person, I can present professionally, I can interact, I can do that. We can talk about experiences, we can talk about whys, we can do all that stuff in person if you would just look at my application.
Yeah.
WesternU hadn't rejected me yet.
Oh wow.
They hadn't.
So I guess this comes to the why WesternU question.
This was funny. This is where I tell people that it was one lucky poop that got me into dental school, and it's not a lie. Because in the School of Life Sciences, it's really small. Like, I can be there and it hit my arms.
Yeah.
Wasn't good. So like, I just had to go to the bathroom. So I go over there, and then when I come out, I saw they had the career fair graduate thing. And I'm in a baseball shirt, literally like the ones that come up over here. And there are other people with resumes in suits. Yeah, you know the ordeal.
Yeah.
But I'm in desperation mode where it's like, I have nothing to lose. This school hasn't rejected me. I know they're there. Like, sign me up, put my sticker on. I go over there and I start talking to her. And she's like, oh, you could be, they give you those generic answers because they don't have time to hear everybody. Right. And I'm telling her, like, I'm like, no, Robin, look at this. This GPA is not getting in. And she's like, oh, well, it could. I was like, no, this can't.
Yeah.
This can't. I was like, Robin, what do I do? I've got this 8 years of this crappy grades. I got these 3 years. How do I make you see this? I was like, Robin, all I want to do is get there and inspire people and help people. And like, my community's counting on me. I got to get in. What do I do?
Yeah.
And then she starts giving me the real answers. And she's like, you know what? She grabs out her business card. She's like, you need this program, but you got to contact this guy. Flips it over. She starts writing down somebody. Like, she's like, tell him Robin sent you. Well, like, I held onto the card for a little bit because I didn't know what to do. Give him a phone call. Doesn't get back to me. I think I called again. Doesn't get back to me. Finally, I sent an email, and then I get an email back. It says, hey, we're gonna have these preview days. You should come by. So the traditional 4 times a year preview day.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I should go into the dental room or if I should go into the master's program room. So I go into the master's program, but like, I didn't just go into the master's program. Like, we drove down over there. No money for hotels, nothing like this. I'm sleeping on my sister's floor, literally, because this is desperation now. Maybe I could get into this, but still, like, I'm not rocking around with confidence. But there was a point where I knew, I'm like, okay, what does this dental school need? They know I have dental experience. I've got 18,000 hours. Getting another 2,000 is not gonna make a difference. The thing that's holding me back is my GPA. What do they need my GPA for? They need to know if I'm smart enough to be a doctor, because nobody wants to go to a dumb doctor.
Yeah.
And so this is a moment of like legitimate self-reflection. It's like, okay, what am I lacking right now? Because I got to prove it to them. So then one semester, I take 19 hours of upper division science classes, all 300 level courses, get A's and I think 1B on absolutely everything. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be what shows them that that I'm going to make it.
Right.
Like that I'm smart enough, because that's all you're really looking for. That, and I'm gonna kill the DAT. I didn't kill the DAT.
Yeah.
I got a 19 on it. Yeah. And then the following semester, I didn't think I was actually going to get into the master's program. I don't hear back from them. I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting into the master's program. Like, me, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. I'm not gonna get in. I get a letter that says, hey, you've got an interview.
Oh, wow.
Getting to the master's program was the hardest time of my life. Things with my wife became extremely challenging. She was still living in Arizona. I was living.
You guys did the whole long distance thing.
We were doing the whole long distance thing, but you know, she had very realistic things. Like she needed a husband. She was trying to sell the house, and she wanted me to be there.
Right.
But the demands of the master's program were so hard. Like I was literally in tears sometimes, trying to accomplish everything. And then one day she calls me. She's breaking down in tears. Yeah. The neighbor. Yeah. Meth head. Trying to rob her car while she's still in the car. Yeah. I just instantly get in my car and start driving straight to Arizona. Like there's no questions asked. My wife stays with her mom. I finish up everything that needs to be done at the house. But yeah, so the whole point was, again, just stuff comes out.
Before we end off, I think a little bit resolution on what was happening with your wife.
When it came to my wife and I, like, it was a challenge, and it like so many people, it'll catch them off guard. Like they're not aware that they see my wife and I'm like, oh, you guys are killing it and whatnot. But eventually, you know, like my biggest question going into professional schools was like, can you do this while being married and a family and all the rest of that stuff? And at some point, like we both, like, any opportunity that I have to step up as a husband, and it's challenging for me because I don't make any money. And what is a husband supposed to do?
Societal norms.
Society norms, yeah, stereotypes, call it whatever you want. But just me as a man, I'm like, my wife has to work her tail off, and like I'm not bringing in anything. So I'm like, okay, she needs a husband. How can I be the best husband I can be without money? So I do everything I can in that regard. I learn to lay down new flooring on our new house. I start making her breakfast before she goes to work. Wash her laundry. I'll do everything that I can to help her get better. Just, you know, within my means. Then her, as a wife, she does everything she can to try and make my life easier for school. And so now we're just in this position where being a team, like there's just this complete, like, commitment and desire to take away the problems of the other person. And then in doing that, you were just flourishing. Yeah. But yeah, so there became resolution with that as well.
That's good.
Yeah. And
reason why I want to ask that is, you know, one, for Antonia to see. But even through your master's program, you kept on running into these potholes or these roadblocks. Yeah. But like you said earlier, just not stopping, that determination, it's really inspiring to hear.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there comes a point, and a lot of motivational speakers, they'll hit on this, but it's kind of like, you've already sacrificed so much, why quit now? After you pay so much, you've worked so hard, you can't stop. Yeah. Like, you can't, you know, it's so close.
I can't say it any better. Let's leave it off there for part 2. But thank you, thank you so much for just going into all of it. And yeah, anything else you want to say, just like a word of advice to pre-dental students, or a word of advice to anybody watching this, really?
The advice I hear, the most consistent one, is just don't give up. Yeah. You know, like my rationale is, if you don't apply, then the answer is definitely no. But if you do, there's always a slight possibility. But the minute you stop trying, you're done. Yeah. Like that's it. But yeah. So.
Thank you again so much.